Wow, we're here.
We're here.
Hi, I'm Miensie, and I'm the owner and dyer of Knotty Habit, or actually I should say co-owner. My husband Louis is with me in the business. We are happy to dye and to do pop-up shops all over South Africa and attend all the yarn festivals, and that's where I hope to meet all of you.
It's so great to be talking to you. Thank you. Thank you for welcoming us. And you gave us a wonderful tour just now. And we're knitting. So we always have to address the knitting first. What are you working on?
I'm making a sock, my go-to.
Okay.
It's for Louis, my husband. It's just my relaxing time.
Yeah. And it's a stock standard kind of recipe that you...
Yeah, it's the vanilla sock from Summerly Knit. That's what I normally use. It's got a heel flap and gusset. And this is just the one that I can knit when I'm tired. I have knitted toe-ups as well. But normally when I start a sock, it's like 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock at night. And then I don't want to think to do toe increases.
Yes.
So I can... And I get you with the ribbing. I like
yes,
ribbing.
You like ribbing too? We need a T-shirt. The Ribbing Club. What are you knitting it in? One of yours?
Yeah, it's okay. So it's actually a sock or a skein of wool that I wasn't happy with.
Okay.
The quality wasn't as I wanted it, and so that's normally what happens with me and my family. They get
and it looks amazing. So if you ever want to give me any of those, please don't be shy. It looks amazing all the same.
It had a little bit of speckle thing that I wasn't happy with.
To me, it looks wonderful. To you, you're like, I'm not going to sell that to anybody.
Yeah, but you can't see it here. Later in the skein, there's a back dye when the skein wasn't hot enough.
Okay.
And you speckle it.
Yeah.
The colours sometimes go to the back and not stay on top, so it's got these blotches. And the colour did break as well. The dye powder break because certain colours are made up out of different colours, so it actually breaks into one of the components. So there's like blue patches on the back. But my husband wouldn't mind.
He wouldn't mind. And he's unlikely to notice. Anyway, I can't notice. Okay, so you're doing socks. I am knitting I'm knitting something called the Wabi Sabi cardigan. I don't know if you've heard about it. And it's easy, it's stockinette.
And it's nice and thick yarn.
It's nice and thick yarn. It's the thickest yarn I've ever used, but I got it because I got it on a sale. And it was my color. This is Knitting the Blues. But I do want to say, I am wearing some Knotty Habit. I don't know if you recognize. You won't recognize the color because I've over-dyed it.
Yep.
I held the linen, viscose, and wool merino blend that you do, which we must talk about. It's one of my favorites of yours. And I held it with, I held it with mohair. Now, you're allergic to mohair, I'm allergic. This is Rowan Kid Silk. It's very different. I can manage it. But the price is different too.
Yeah.
So that might be why. But anyway, I am wearing some Knotty Habit.
And you know that Rowan Kid Silk come from South Africa.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. There you go. So we're knitting and we're chatting.
Yeah, we are chatting.
One of the first things I wanted to ask you is to, I guess I should just say quickly, I met you the first time when I went to Stoopmark, I think it's called, at, and this was the one that they have at, what's that place called
44
now?
at Stanley.
44 Stanley, exactly. And I saw your, establishment there and just saw the yarns and just thought, wow, my pocket's going to be in trouble today. But you were really warm, and I think I knew you were going to be there, so I'd written to you ahead of time.
That's right.
You're going to have this.
Email. Yeah.
And you said, yes, you'll have that base. And I bought the base, and I went home. It was early days for me in my knitting, and I went home and I just was learning how to do the skeins and roll up a cake, and I just loved. I don't know. I just thought this is wonderful. Whatever this is, it's wonderful, and it was the merino viscose linen blend. And then since then, I've used your suri. So those are the two. And then I bought some Knock Your Socks Off, I think.
Yeah.
Which I've made socks for myself, my children. So I'm a big fan, which is why I wanted to have you on the podcast and talk to you and just learn a bit more about what you do and what makes it special. So thank you. And I think the first question I had was just to understand your journey to knitting, and actually not to knitting, to yarn dyeing. It may have started with knitting, it may not have. But like your journey to Knotty Habit, how did it come to be?
It was actually not something that was kind of, figured out 1 + 1 is 2.
Yes.
We lived overseas on and off, first in the US and then in Dubai. And I was the typical corporate wife who made sure that the kids were happy, because it's not always easy to find your place in a society every time you move countries. My children all went to, because they were all in American international schools and got scholarships and went to study in the US. And when my youngest one left, I was like, okay, so now I'm going to do something for myself. I'm not just a taxi driver. I'm not going to be the taxi mum. I'm just going to do something for myself. And I always wanted to spin.
Oh, you'd always wanted to?
I had this fascination with, what's the fable, Sleeping Beauty, I think?
Yes, with the spindle.
Yeah, because I always thought, what was it that pricked her finger? Kind of thing that really bothered me.
I love that.
So for Christmas, between my brothers and my mum, they bought me a spinning wheel. And I actually had a big shoulder op just a couple of weeks before that. And just got to treadle because I couldn't use my arm. And I sat and treadled and eventually started spinning. And then I had all these bobbins full of spun yarn, but uncolored. And I don't wear cream. So I was really... And then I phoned the lady that I bought my wheel from. And I said, so what do I do now? So she says, well, maybe you need to start dyeing it. So she gave me this little... voice note, and I still have it, and that's how I started. And of course, as you know, there's nothing nowadays that's sacred. You can just Google how to, and you get all these videos and all the things. But I really watched a lot of dye videos. I tried. I made errors. I burnt wool. I did a lot of things, and I'm very fortunate to have the farmers' background, in the sense that my mum's family is from the Southern Free State. So they're all sheep farmers and wool farmers for that as well.
So were they supplying the wool?
No. I bought from the mill, but I could talk to them certain things and terminologies and stuff like that. And being a farmer's daughter myself, it was nice for me to work with an agricultural product that I loved. And that's how it started.
Gosh, what fiber were you, when you were doing the spinning, because I'm also learning the terminology. So is it roving?
Yeah.
So you get roving.
Yeah.
So you got like a bunch of roving yarn or fiber.
Yep, fiber.
And then you would be spinning that.
Yeah. And it was actually my first ones were non-superwash.
Okay.
Which makes the learning process for spinning easier because it's not as slippery as the superwash. But as a dyer, I prefer the superwash because it's easier to dye. It takes the color a lot more intense. Non-superwash is more muted. It's the same as alpaca, very muted. And then because as you know, I've got a sensitive skin. Yes. I prefer the superwash yarn to wear as well because it's not as scratchy on my skin. When I started, there's a base in South Africa, Seoul, African Express in Seoul.
Yes.
And as a dyer, I could buy it undyed. And I started dyeing it. It was one of my big sellers in the beginning. And I started getting these like kind of nearly eczema, where I started scratching myself on my hands. And even though you use gloves and stuff, but water comes in, or sometimes you just want to take the skein out of the water without your gloves on. Yeah. And I was like, is there something wrong? And I was really trying to figure out what was going on. I always knew that I had a sensitive skin, and I always knew that I can't wear fluffy stuff. Okay. Even as a child, I couldn't wear anything that's fluffy. Yeah. It scratches me. Yeah. And then at one stage I stopped dyeing the sole because I just didn't have stock and I didn't reorder. And then I suddenly realized, but
it went away.
It went away. It's not because I changed gloves, I changed hand cream, I changed everything. Yeah. And then I dyed one more set because I had like 2 skeins left, and it appeared like this.
Wow.
And I realized my sensitivity towards the mohair actually became worse with the dyeing. of how more I was exposed to it, to the point where I can't even touch now.
Really? It does. It does.
It starts itching immediately. Because I follow a lot of, dyers overseas and stuff, I knew about Suri alpaca. And I knew that it was hypoallergic. It does stop shedding at one stage.
It doesn't stop shedding. Okay. Am I right that in South Africa it's mostly superwash? It's kind of hard to find non-superwash. And is that because of what you just said? Like it's just easier with colors and...
Yeah, and it is... we only have 2 mills in South Africa. And the one mill, there's one undyed yarn that's non-superwash that comes from the SA mills, the African Expressions yarn.
Yes.
I can't remember the name now. It's the one that's a little bit thicker than DK, and that's a non-superwash. But it's not easy to dye non-superwash.
Yeah.
It's really not easy to dye.
Yeah, I got you. Is it has it got mohair in it?
Yeah, it does, and that's one of the reasons I can't dye it either.
I know that one. I know it. It's super thick. It's you're right. It's thicker than the thickest that they have.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. And what did you start with when you then started like, okay, this is a thing? Like what did you start with? Not just knock your socks off?
No, I actually started with lace. Because that was in 2019 when I started, that was the big thing here, especially in Pretoria, was the
shawls.
Yeah, but the blending of colours.
Okay. Yes, the because Andrea Maori kind of find your fade stuff.
That kind of thing. And it was a lot. It was also very heavy speckled. It was the whole tendency really changed the last couple of years. If you look at the patterns nowadays, it's all more a blending of solid colours.
Yes.
Where those days it was these heavy speckled yarns, very, very great. So things have changed a little bit, and you need to keep up with that. You need to see what the designers are designing, what yarns they are using, so that you can
supply what's needed.
Yeah.
What's a typical day for you? I mean, I know there's a lot you do, but I guess I'm trying to get a sense of, what, if you're working, what do we see you doing?
I dress up in clothes that you don't want to see me in. I always say I look like Daisy de Melker. Daisy de Melker was in the 40s, I think, or 50s.
Okay.
She was a lady that was convicted of murdering, I think, more than 2 or 3 husbands, but her hair was always like this. So I always am joking and say, no, my clothes, it's the oldest clothes, and I've got my clocks on that I can, because the day when I dye, I stand on my feet the whole day. Going to the dye studio, fill the dye pans with the amount of water that I want. I would probably have put the yarn in the water the previous night.
To soak.
Overnight. I like to have it really good soak, because that opens the fibres and the dye can go into the fibre. And then I've got a list of what I need to dye. My constants are really, really super popular. And I really try to keep them stocked. And not at the moment where there is really a little bit of holes here and there. Obviously, the sock sets.
I was going to say, I imagine it would be the sock sets.
Yeah, the sock sets are very popular, but that's where I play, because I only do one pan and I don't repeat it again.
Okay, yeah.
So that's my playing time. The constants are definitely more a production dyeing, put it like that, where I have to I dye like 16.
And you have to remember.
Yeah, I've got recipes for those, which... it was very hard for me to do. I didn't like that in the beginning.
You mean the precision of it?
Yeah.
Making sure you knew how to repeat that.
Yeah. I liked the fact that I could just dye. I like to see what's happening, because sometimes you can actually watch how the colour is interacting with the yarn. And then, okay, no, it's too light. We add a little bit, but then you can't repeat it.
Yeah.
And if you want to have yarns that you can repeat, you need to be very precise.
What do you love the most about what you're doing?
Okay, let me just go one step back. It took me a while to actually come to terms with the fact that dyeing the yarn is actually my creativity. I miss the fact that I couldn't sit and knit the whole day. I miss the fact that I couldn't spin the whole day because I just can't anymore. So it took me a couple of years to actually be okay with the fact that maybe I take 6 months to knit one sock, but I do a lot of other creativity. And especially because not one of these colors are a amount of dye powder out of a bottle.
Yeah.
I try to play with mixing my colors so that it can be unique.
For most people, they would recognize that as creative. So I'm interested in, for you, why do you think it took so long for you to recognize that for yourself?
You wonder, I didn't think that I was creative. I never thought of myself as artist or creative because it was... I always sewed. We all knitted at school and crocheted a little bit at school. But I never thought that I was this arty one. I never thought
you didn't have that impression of yourself.
No, and I still don't really. The dyeing part is definitely something that I had to kind of ease into. It took me a little while. And as Knotty grew, and I started actually on the stoep out there with one stove and 2 plates. And then by October, I was like burning myself to pieces and I've got lots of freckles. So I said to my husband, no, I can't do this anymore. So he gave me half of the double garage. And then by the next year, I got another 3/4 of the second half. And then last year, this time, we actually
expanded even more.
Yeah.
And the thing you love the most about what you're doing now that you hopefully understand that it's massively creative?
Maybe the interaction with the people.
Okay.
I've always been, people would say I'm very extrovert. I'm actually, I think, more an introvert extrovert in the sense that I love people and I love to interact, and it's nice for me to, at the markets, I love it at the markets because that's the only time that because dyeing is actually a very lonely job.
Quite lonely, yeah. And then you send it out, right?
Yeah.
So you post it. So
I love to get the feedback, and I love writing my little handwritten notes. Everyone is always complimenting me on and things like that. So the people interaction, I think, is the one thing that I really enjoy, because it's nice to see that what other people make of something that you create. I just dyed some yarn for a young girl, she's in her 20s, in Bloemfontein, and her mum sent me a note afterwards and she said, Miensie, you don't want to realize how it was this big thing. I should have actually taken a video how she opened this box. And it was like opening and closing and opening, looking at it. Mama, no.
And you dyed specially? Do you dye on demand?
I do.
For the particular colors?
Yeah,
and that's
an
amazing offering. Wow.
I try, and it's always the thing also that you don't have to buy the yarn if you're not happy with it.
Yes.
So I can always sell it.
Yes.
But it will. I do get requests. Excuse my dog.
That's okay. We love dogs here. What do you find the hardest, or what's the most challenging in the work you do?
Taking product pictures.
Really?
I hate it. With a passion. Even though I've got a photo box.
Yeah. Wow.
I hate it. I think it's the most time-consuming thing.
Okay.
And then I get upset because the labels are not exactly all the same.
Okay. So like the fiddliness of it.
Yeah, and that's also a thing that I learned about myself. I never thought I was kind of, not really OCD, but particular about things. I really didn't think.
You thought you were chilled.
Yeah, because I'm not very super organized. I'm not very super neat person.
Yeah.
I'm like go with the flow kind of thing.
Yeah.
And my kids, they also, I was never, harsh on them about how their rooms look. That was never my thing. And then I get upset because the one Knotty habit label is a little bit to the left.
This other Miensie comes out that you didn't know existed. So, whoa! If you've been around, you will know that I have launched this cowl. I'm very excited. A knit along. It's for a beret, and we have a Ravelry group. Anybody watching? We have a Ravelry group. I have the link in the description box below. And what I thought was, it'd be great if you would. I think people are incentivized by prizes. So I wondered if you would be willing to judge the berets when they're all done at the end. And I was thinking that the prize could be, I have to do a disclaimer, it would need to be somebody in South Africa, because I will pay for the postage to get a skein or two of Knotty habit yarn.
I will be honoured.
To the winner.
I would be honoured, and I would be honoured to actually sponsor your prize.
That's very kind. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, guys, and I will, if you're in South Africa, I will post it to you at no cost to you, as long as you're near a postnet. And if you're not in South Africa and you're doing the prize, then I will sponsor one pattern of your choice from Noma Ndlovu, who's going to be somebody I interview hopefully soon. So that can, because that's easy to send. I'm fascinated myself about, you were telling me, I'm learning so much from what you're saying, just learning about the mills and how many mills there are. I had that one statistic, which is that I found out that South Africa supplies 51% of the world's mohair, which I just thought, whoa, what? And I wanted to research that more and understand. And there's this whole interesting story about that, which I'm sure you know about, how the Angora goats ended up here and so on. But what I'm particularly interested, you even said it, and I thought you said it well, where like people often think, oh, knitting, and that's something for the elderly, or that's something for this kind of person, but not that kind of person. And in fact, that's one of the reasons I wanted to do this podcast, is I wanted to say, well, here's me and I'm a knitter, and I don't know if I fit your profile of what a knitter should be, but here's one, and I know that there are many, like it's a diverse community.
Yeah.
I'm interested in the role, not just knitting, but fiber arts, textile science, dyeing, whatever. That's an industry. There's a whole kind of farm to needle or farm to hooks story there and value. I was reading recently that South Africa has a trade deficit in terms of this particular industry. So in terms of the clothing and textile industry, I think the figures are like, it sort of exports maybe up to 19 billion, but imports something like 65 billion. Like this is not a lucrative area, but then I think, well, room for growth. So I guess I'm just curious what thoughts you have about the industry. I was reading up as well on the previous, I think, Minister for Trade and Industry, who issued this big master plan. It's a clothing, textile, leather, fiber master plan going to 2030, how we're going to inject this and get jobs and get employment and boost the industry. Do you you obviously interact in that industry and you understand the gaps in the industry and what's possible and what's not. I'm just curious, what thoughts do you have about the industry and like what could be possible and what might be needed?
Definitely there is a potential for growth. Dr. Suleiman of Gift of the Givers, he was a speaker at the Karoo Wool Festival, where he said that even him was so amazed with the potential jobs that there is in the industry, that he and Gift of the Givers are going to get more involved with the Wool Festival. So I don't know exactly where he is going to. He was there and he accepted some blankets and stuff that Gabe and Co gave, sponsored for them. But his positivity and his big thing is also, we need to be so positive about the country. There are so many things that there are many things that's wrong. Yeah. But there are something that are right. And we need to cut into that. And I think the potential for the workforce is definitely there. There's an internship from farm to wool internship that SA or Cape Wool actually doing that, and you can apply, and then it's where you actually start the whole process. Wow. So I don't know how, I didn't read the whole article to see how many people they're going to employ, but I think there is definitely a drive.
So much of your work is also about color. So you talked about working with your hands, working with material because of your history as living on a farm, and then of course color is such a key part of the work you do. And that's your signature as well. And this beautiful thing behind us, this beautiful display. I'm curious about what inspires you. How do you wake up one morning and it's spring and you think, okay, do there's your constants, but if with the play part, is it seasonal? Is it, okay, it's winter, then I'm going to do this. I saw your color wheel image there in your studio. What are your sources of inspiration? How do you dream something? Do you see when you go, I don't know, you go strolling somewhere? Or
Firstly, I think because I come from a farm, nature was always a big thing for me. Lou and myself are big. We would get in the car and just go for a drive in Rietvlei nature reserve just for like 2 hours or something. I sometimes wouldn't even get undressed out of my ugly clothes and just to get out of the house, because there would be 2 weeks or something like that I don't even leave the house. Yeah. So nature colors is always a big thing for me. But saying that, I don't wear brown. To dye a color that it's outside of your comfort zone is also not easy.
Interesting.
I'm like you. I'm a navy person. I like blues. I can mix anything with a blue. I can mix green and blue, pink and blue, anything that goes with blue.
Yes, that's your neutral.
Red
right?
and blue.
Yeah. Amen.
So that's the easy one to dye. How intense the blue is, how deeper the blue is, how to get there. I love that. But then I've got this other big, huge following, and some of my friends who's autumn people, and I need to dye for them as well. And then I've got this other side who's got these bright neon colors. Although I can dye it.
Yeah.
Because I think I can step back as what my personal like and dislike is.
Yeah.
And I can dye the color, and I've been very fortunate that my neons have been doing really well.
Yeah, I was gonna say you do have neons.
Yeah,
so you do.
no, I can dye it, but it's not my favorite thing to dye. So I had to learn to dye the whole spectrum. I've actually got a really very big compliment a couple of weeks ago where I got an email where the lady said, thank you for dyeing the whole spectrum. And that's maybe why I do custom dyes as well. You see that specific green, and I will try. Sometimes I make 3 or 4 batches of something just because I want to get to that color, what makes that color. I mean, even the color wheel was something that I had to learn. How it works.
Yeah.
Because I had no art background.
Wow.
And then there's Karen of Miss Lamotte, who's got a master's degree in fine art. I mean, her dyeing is exquisite, and she will always be my hero, the way she dyes.
Wow.
It looks like a water painting. She has that very beautiful, soft watercolor mixing of colors. Mine is a bit more bold.
What's your worst knitting habit?
Knitting too long.
Favorite color?
Blue.
Cat or dog?
Dog.
Is knitting your first love?
No.
Animal fiber or plant?
Animal.
Are you a monogamous knitter or unapologetically philandering?
Definitely philandering.
Is knitting or yarn dyeing physically painful for you?
It can be if it's a whole day of dyeing, yeah. Your feet and your shoulders, yeah.
Worst fear?
To burn my wool and not have enough water in the pants, which I have done.
Has knitting taught you anything about life itself?
Patience. And also to be a little bit on the wild side and try new things without being scared of it.
Thank you.